Besides enjoying all the activity that currently surrounds me, I can't help but find that in my advanced years I tend to reminisce quite often. That is exactly what is happening to me right now. I was watching the goats wandering in from somewhere in the fields to the shed they have right by the old barn, and suddenly I find myself back with my sisters, playing in the deep snow with Laura and Dan. Don't let me forget to get back to the goats. I can't remember exactly how long ago it was, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I do remember it fell not long after the winter solstice, and it was close to 3 feet of snow. You may remember me admitting I don't know that much about geography, but I surely do know a lot about the movement of the celestial bodies, both in and outside of our solar system. Information is not only the purview of you humans. Animals know and understand a lot more than we are given credit for. Please don't take me the wrong way. It is not my place to lecture anyone, and I mean no offense. Perhaps I should just continue with my story. I got sidetracked talking about the night sky. Yes, I was remembering the big snowfall. I think the only reason I recall the big snowfall in particular is because the snow stayed longer than it normally does, and we had several days of playing in it instead of only 1 or 2. I don't know which memory shines the brightest. Laura and Dan used to make very loosely packed snowballs and then toss them in the air to us. We would leap up and catch them in the air in our jaws. I put catch in quotation marks because we couldn't really catch them. They would dissolve as soon as we bit down on them. We would just chew and chew on the snow that was left with our eyes shining bright and twitching in anticipation of the next snowball coming our way. Sometimes we would time our leaps perfectly, and sometimes we would misjudge the throw and wait just a little bit too long before we leaped, and the snowball would go sailing over our heads with us doing what you could only explain as a backward somersault. These were not planned nor practiced, and they hurt as much as they looked like they would. We would do that non-stop for as long as they would throw them, even though we were eventually started shivering. Once we did start shivering, Laura and Dan would stop and tell us all it was time to go in the house for a while and warm up. One time we all went over to the neighbor's hill and climbed all the way to the top of it. Dan was carrying a saucer sled with him. I'd never seen one before, neither had my sisters, so we didn't know what was going on. Once we got to the top, Dan had Laura scoot to the front of the sled, and he got behind her and started running down the hill, pushing her as fast as he could, yelling and screaming and howling like a maniac and screaming to us, "Come on!" All of a sudden he leaped on the back with her, and they were going down the hill lickety-split. Now that I'm getting used to how long of a column this wonderful paper that is sharing my stories requires, I shall wrap up and continue next time.